What's up, and welcome back to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Friday, August 12th, 2022. Of course, I'm Tim Geddes, and I'm joined by. Now, here's the thing. Every once in a while, we have guests on this show, and there's always one of my favorite people in the world, or the legend. Like, there's all these intros that sound grandiose and sound all huge, and a lot of the times they're accurate. But I gotta be real. I could not be hyperbolic about this man right here. Jirard the Completionist is joining me, and he is one of the greatest human beings to ever walk this planet. It's always a pleasure to have him on the show. Jirard, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. If I ever feel bad or down on myself, I just got to call Tim to pick me up, because that intro, that'll be better than anything I've ever done. I've done some crazy things. That intro is the best. Thank you, Tim.
Dude, I love you so much. You are such a kind-hearted person. You are so intelligent. You have such a great work ethic, and you surround yourself with good people. I love to see your success. You've been killing it at G4. We're going to check in later on a new project you've been working on called God of War, which I'm very excited to see as well. I got to hang out with you just a little bit at SummerSlam. It's never enough, but I always love running into you in different places, because it always brings a smile to my face.
Yeah, man, it's always a pleasure to be here. The Kind of Funny audience is always one of my favorite. You guys are so fun and so cool, and always just so down to clown. I really appreciate it. You guys are so fun. So thanks.
Absolutely, man. Well, we're having you here on Kinda Funny Games Daily. Today's stories include Xbox giving PlayStation advice on how to run its game subscription service, Sega insisting that Sonic Frontiers won't meet the delay end of a Tim Geddes business call, and breaking news that Hogwarts Legacy did get delayed, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, that's cool. You can watch later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames or roosterteeth.com. If you wanted to get it as a podcast, just search your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny Games Daily, and we will be right there for you. If you wanted to get the show ad-free, if you wanted to get the exclusive post show that we do each and every weekday, you got to go to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like our Patreon producers, Fargo Brady, Guy V, and the Saboteur have done. If you don't have bucks to toss our way, that's totally cool. You can use our Epic creator code KindaFunny on all your Epic Store purchases, and it helps us out. A little housekeeping for you. Are you ready to Rumble Friday? That's today. We're doing a sponsored Rumbleverse stream right after Kinda Funny Games Daily with a bunch of guests from Iron Galaxy to talk about the launch of their Brawler Royale. You can come play with Greg and Mike in private Kinda Funny matches right after this show at 11 a.m. PT on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. Today, we're brought to you by MeUndies and Chime, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. We have 7 news stories today.
Baker's dozen.
Here we go, Jirard. Breaking news right as we were going live. Hogwarts Legacy has been delayed. Barrett, if you could bring up this tweet, I would appreciate that. Hogwarts Legacy will launch on February 10th, 2023 for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. The Nintendo Switch launch date will be revealed soon. The team is excited for you to play, but we need a little more time to deliver the best possible game experience. Jirard, are you surprised about this delay?
No, no, it just, look, we still live in a pandemic world right now, despite how we are coming to the end of this thing. We're in a situation where I'm surprised that we're still getting new games the rate that we have been the last few years. But as we're kind of coming back to normal and how things are kind of getting back on track, there's also this sense of everyone has to drop their games in their certain quarterly windows. And I think they're looking at a lot of what's going on and going, all right, well, God of War Ragnarok comes out here and this game comes out here. All right, let's not release here. Let's go all the way over there to avoid the competition. And so when I knew we didn't get a date, but it was just kind of amorphous. But yeah, not surprised at all, Tim. Not surprised one bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the last couple of days on this show, we've been talking about how God of War Ragnarok is a force to be reckoned with in the games industry, and for it locking down that November date, and at this point, we're feeling pretty confident in that. At least I do. We've been talking about how we're going to start seeing a lot of the games around it move. And yesterday even we're talking about Hogwarts Legacy. And I was saying, I think it has a 50-50 shot of moving. Again, not surprised at all. Them giving it a February date, that's not that far. We never had an official release date this year anyways. We just knew it was holiday. So February is not, at worst, that's 2 months later than people could have expected. But what I think is interesting is what you're bringing up here about looking at the release calendar and, all right, cool, they're getting out of the way of God of War, but we're about to get into a situation like we had, I think it was this year, where like February is stacked, where there's just so many games coming out at one time. And like,
oh yeah,
just looking at the calendar now, like due to a couple of delays or even just late announcements, we got Forspoken, which was delayed out of this year to January 24th. We have Dead Space remake on the 27th. Now Hogwarts Legacy on February 10th. Resident Evil 4, March 24th. Like we're already starting to get the early couple months of 2023 laid out to us if everything goes to plan. I'm not expecting that all those games are going to hit when they say they will because of the state of the world. But what do you think about early 2023 for you?
I mean, I'm totally cool with this. I'm not the guy that this game is made for when it comes to Hogwarts Legacy. I'm not a big Harry Potter guy. Never have been. Don't want to pretend that I am. I don't even know if there is a community of people online who I mean, obviously Harry Potter is a massive franchise and everyone's excited for anything Harry Potter related. But I just don't know if moving the game itself would actually do a lot to make sales better, unless this is like a revolutionary experience. But I feel like since we're so close, I haven't heard or seen enough about Hogwarts Legacy to feel like I really care all that much. What about you, Tim?
I think that Hogwarts Legacy is a difficult game to talk about because of the layers of political issues that the game is wrought with, right? And on top of that, yeah, we haven't seen too much, but we've seen enough that just from a pure gameplay perspective, the fans of the Harry Potter universe seem to be getting the game of their dreams with the monkey's paw elements on top of it, which is very unfortunate. But I do think that people are going to show up for this game, and I think that the difference between it coming out late this year or early next year isn't going to make too big of a difference in terms of sales for WB. It is also interesting to just think about the state of Warner Brothers and Discovery and all that right now with everything going on. And we don't know exactly how that's all going to affect the game side of things. We've already seen WB games have a lot of shakeups and a lot of interesting choices, I would say, in the last couple of years in terms of the games that they have announced and how they've talked about them with, Suicide Squad and with Gotham Knights and then Hogwarts Legacy as well. So I don't know. It's again, difficult game to talk about that I can't wait to stop having to talk about. But hey, it's news. The game got delayed. It's coming out next year. We'll check in when we check in. But moving on to story number 2. This one, it's a kind of funny one. It's a follow-up on yesterday's story about the Brazilian documents in the legal situation between Xbox trying to acquire Activision and what PlayStation has to say about it, all of that. So here's the story from John Walker at Kotaku. Microsoft snarkily schools Sony on how to better run PlayStation Plus. That treasure trove of a document filed by Microsoft to the Brazilian competition authorities on Tuesday in response to Sony's objections to its efforts to buy Activision Blizzard contains another absolute gem. In it, Microsoft took time out to tell Sony just how it could, should, better run its revamped PlayStation Plus service such that it wouldn't need to worry so much about competition, like, say, Xbox Game Pass.
Woo!
As Kotaku reported earlier, the document, sent as part of one of many international competition inquiries into Microsoft's attempt to purchase Activision Blizzard, accuses Sony of creating deals with publishers that prevent games from being allowed to appear on Game Pass, which it cites as an example of Sony's own competitive behavior. This is accompanied by a list of examples of Sony's own first-party titles that aren't released to competitor consoles, all to make the point that Microsoft to make Activision games Xbox exclusive, it'd be keeping with the objector's own actions. So all that adds up. We talked about that yesterday. But what's delighted me so much is noticing a paragraph buried in there in which Microsoft stops to just drop some uninvited advice on Sony for how the Japanese company could do a much better job of running PlayStation Plus. This is great, Jirard. The statement from the Portuguese language document, translated by a friend of Kotaku, begins, quote, Sony could be able to leverage the high quality of their first-party games even more by making them available on PlayStation Plus at launch day. Such a strategy might be able to quickly speed up the growth of the service's user base as a response to the competitive pressure of Game Pass or any other service, and the strategy is not adopted by Sony even when it comes to the new and updated PlayStation Plus. Just in case that wasn't snarky enough, Microsoft finishes the little section off by saying such a move by Sony could make PlayStation Plus even more attractive in order to be able to rival eventual strategies by competing game publishers to the benefit of gamers. Dinsdale notes it's worth running the entire 27-page document through Google Translate for your own entertainment. Jirard, what do you think about this?
That's incredible. That's so funny. That's the shade is so subtle, but so specific. This is definitely a, hey, we learned this lesson, but also we learned it quicker than you did. So I don't know, man. I feel like everyone's like the console wars are dead, but like a little shade here every now and then kind of gives it a little more life.
I love it because this is as behind the scenes as it gets. Like, we're talking about legal spats back and forth in these documents that need to be translated for us to even read them on all of this. But like,
yeah,
we know so much. So it's just funny to me that really what Xbox is saying is like, hey, motherfuckers, we got to figure it out. And like, this is the way you should be doing it.
Catch up.
So why aren't you doing it? Like, catch up. We are number one. And I love them throwing that shade. And again, I don't think that this is going to ever turn into PlayStation putting its first party titles on PS Plus to combat Xbox Game Pass. Because at this point, they just have very different strategies and they're working in very different ways. Like, I don't expect God of War Ragnarok coming day one. Just doesn't feel right now. That could change at some point, but I think that we are very far from that. But I love that Microsoft is indignantly standing here being like, no, this is the right way to do it. So we'll see.
Yeah, man. I think now is the time to have these little petty quarries and fights, just because we can look at it before the calm before the storm that is the holiday release schedule. But yeah, considering that they're everyone's trying to buy someone, right? Everyone's trying to build their portfolio and make it bigger and scarier and make their service the best. So personally, I think Microsoft's already off to a great start. So this is some good shade, some good tea, as the kids say.
Good tea for sure. I love this stuff because it's just like, again, competition can breed excellence. And I keep saying this, but just this generation is so exciting to me because Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox have different strategies when it comes to what they're looking at as like their core consumer, but also what they see themselves at when they look in the mirror of like, what is our product? Like, what is the identity of our brand? So all of them doing different things and believing that they are doing the right thing. I just love it. And I hope that it results in some learnings across the board from everybody to just make the next product better, whatever it is. Moving on to story number 3. Sega has no plans to delay Sonic Frontiers from its 2022 launch. This comes from Darren Bontois at GameSpot. Sega's upcoming Sonic Frontiers is still on track to release this year and won't be delayed to address the mixed reception it has received from critics and fans since it was officially revealed. I'm so happy I have you on the show for this one, Jirard. In a business briefing that was recently held, Sega Sammy's Senior Executive VP Koichi Fuzukawa and Executive VP Makoto Takahashi explained that the company had no plans to delay the open world Sonic game. Quote, we do not consider postponing the launch at this point. Within the communication with users, we intend to reflect the parts that can be reflected within the development timeline and to build empathy with users. Sonic IP is a mainstay title we will sell over the long term in the future, and we will continue to strengthen it in the next fiscal year onwards and well. What a shitty way to say all of that. I mean, I know there's some translation going on there, but that's a funny set of words.
It sounds like the Sonic Frontiers is going to be a free-to-play game that's supported in a free-to-play economy. Like, it doesn't sound like they're talking about Sonic Frontiers at all.
Totally. Yeah. A mainstream, like flagship, just Sonic platform game. And they're talking about all the. All right, cool. Sega also expects the success of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 at the box office to have an impact on the game's sales, as the execs mentioned that repeat sales of Sonic titles grew after the first film was originally released. With the first film sequel being a bigger box office blockbuster, Sega believes that its success will help amplify Sonic game sales and that Sonic Frontiers will be the future of the franchise. Sonic team head Takashi Iizuka also addressed fans' criticism of the game and calls for it to be delayed. He said that he wasn't surprised by the feedback and that once players got their hands on Sonic Frontiers, they'll understand what makes it feel unique when compared to other Sonic titles. Sonic Frontiers is scheduled for winter 2022, and Bless and I yesterday were theorizing that we'll probably get the dialed-in release date at Jeff Keighley's Gamescom opening night live in just a couple of weeks. Jirard, I was there with you down in LA at Summer Game Fest. I saw you play this game. I got to talk to you about this game. What are your thoughts on Sonic Frontiers?
I loved what I played. I loved every bit of it. It was so fun and so chaotic. It felt like they put the Sonic formula on its head. I did notice that depending on when I played the demo, whether the system had been rebooted or not, that it ran better than previously before. I was very excited for it. I had a lot of confidence for it. But my confidence came from a place of, well, they say winter 2022. I'm okay if it comes out in the fall or the next or the February of 2023, thinking that, oh, we've got time. They've got time. But they went from Sonic 2, the movie came out and destroyed the box office, to, oh, this game is coming now. And Sega, please don't mess this up. You've got the brand legacy. You're crushing it lately. You got some dubs under your belt. If you need to delay it. Put it in February next to Hogwarts. We're not going to get mad. Like, take your time. Please don't push it out.
Sometimes you don't got to go fast, you know?
Sometimes you got to go slow. And going slow is sometimes the same as going fast, especially in Sonic's case. So let's let it breathe. I hope they knock it out of the park, because the game is so fun when we played. And I just don't know. I don't know, Tim. I had the confidence they were going to delay it, Tim, and they're not delaying it. What's going on? Please delay it.
I mean, it must be like fiscal quarter stuff, right? Like there must be like, oh, we gotta get this out and by this time, and that is unfortunate, because to your point, that's not what Sonic needs. You know, Sonic, there is this resurgence. There's been a resurgence in the last couple of years that has not been flawless. Nothing with Sonic ever is flawless, but the movies were fantastic. They're crushing it, especially Sonic 2. I'm a huge fan of that movie. Sonic Mania is one of my favorite games ever. They knocked that out of the park. Why we aren't getting a second one is absolutely beyond me. Sonic Forces was not good. Is that a game that you completed?
I did complete it.
I'm sorry for you.
It was a very, very okay experience. It was I wasn't mad. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I wasn't disappointed. I was very like, well, that was a game. I experienced it. I had fun. I had my highs. I had my lows, and I got out, and that was it. The best part is you had the gamer hat. That was the best part. Is you get that beautiful gamer hat.
But yeah, it's like, you know, at this point, it's been over a decade since Sonic Generations came out, and I think that was like a turning point of like, yo, this is legitimately a great Sonic game. And then getting Mania was like, oh my god, this is an amazing Sonic game. And then Forces was like, oh, we're getting back into some of the bad territory. And Frontiers definitely is that next step where there's a lot riding on it, where this is the next flagship. This is the first big change that we've seen from like their 3D Sonic games in a very long time. Like this is pushing things forward for a whole new generation. And especially with the success of the movies and just like the the newer generations of Sonic fandom that we have, like they need to get this right. And it's interesting because like playing through it at, Summer Game Fest, like it was such a divisive game where some people that played it legitimately hated it. Some people that played it legitimately loved it. A lot of people kind of somewhere in between. People went in wanting to hate it, so they hated it. People went in wanting to love it, so they loved it. Like there's something unique about Sonic Frontiers in that everybody's gonna get some intense emotion out of this game, whether it's good or bad. It really depends on what you're bringing into it, right? But I had a great time with the most of it. a lot of this open world stuff was a little more take it or leave it with how floaty it felt for me. The combat stuff surprised me a lot, where it played way more like a platinum game than I expected. And when you get into like I forget what they're called, but like the warp levels that make it play way more just like traditional 3D Sonic, the things I liked most from Generations and Unleashed and stuff. I loved that. So if they can nail that, we're going to get a real solid 7 on our hands, Jirard. And that's really all I'm looking for at this point.
You're just saying, I want that C, baby. Give me that C average, that 7, and you're good. Me, I think I'm hoping for a B plus, A minus. Yeah? I'm hopeful.
I love it.
I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic and foolish, but I'm optimistic. I got love for the blue blur. I gotta hope that he pulls a W. I gotta hope. I'll leave it at that. I wanted to do well. That's why I was hoping they would delay it, because not that I don't think the game is ready. I haven't played enough or seen enough of the game, but seeing how many people out there are really passionate about whether or not this game is going to be great or not, that's the part that makes me go, okay, just before you release it, just count all the 1s and 2s real quick and just make sure it's in a good spot, you know?
Yeah, we'll see. So okay, we don't know the release date. Winter 2022. When do you think it actually comes out? Delays being accounted for.
I mean, it sounds like it's going to come out probably in October or November, if I had to guess. But in actuality, it should probably come out in February or March of next year.
My gut tells me it's going to get a December release date, which seems like a horrible idea. But you know what? Sega's known for horrible ideas when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog. So it'd be par for the course. But I'm going to say December 7th without even looking at a calendar. I don't even know what day that is. Let's see.
You're just going
December 7th. It's a Wednesday. It's probably Wednesday. Probably not going to be December 7th. Whatever. December. It's going to be December.
First week of that week. Let's say that week.
That is my bet. That's my bet. Put it on the books.
On the books.
Speaking of books, somehow you can go to patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames where you can get the show ad free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
No one. And The Rock means no one likes waiting on a paycheck. Especially, ladies and gentlemen, when you've got bills due. Good thing there's now Chime. Now you can get your paycheck up to 2 days early with direct deposit. That's up to 2 more days to save, pay bills, and generally just feel good about your money situation. Waiting for your money, never good. Getting your money in advance, great. Who wouldn't want that? Chime is more than about just getting paid early. It's also an award-winning mobile app, checking account, debit card, and optional savings account. So what are you waiting for? Hopefully not your paycheck. Get started with Chime today. Applying for a free account takes less than 2 minutes. Get started at chime.com/KFgames. That's chime.com/KFgames. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank N.A. Members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit funds depends on the payer. Where'd the sunglasses go? Chime.com/KFgames. That's chime.com/KFgames. Have you heard about the legendary underwear brand that's taken the podcast world by storm? Famous for their buttery soft undies and bralettes, MeUndies loves podcasts just as much as you do. It's like they're made for you, and you're made for them. You're made for each other. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, you know I love my MeUndies because they're the most comfortable underwear I've ever had, and because they have great patterns. As the king of Halloween, my candy corn pair never fails to make me smile. Everyone knows MeUndies for their super soft undies and comfy bralettes, but did you know they also make other stuff? We're talking about durable, cushy socks that will make your feet sing. They even make hoodies for your dog so you can match every important person in your life. Available in sizes XS to 4XL and tons of colors and prints. MeUndies has a great offer for my listeners. Any first-time purchasers can get 20% off plus free shipping and returns. To get 20% off your first order, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/KindaFunny. That's MeUndies.com/KindaFunny.
Story number 4. MultiVersus Season 1 plans are locked in. This comes from the MultiVersus Twitter. A lot of the stuff we've kind of assumed and kind of heard about in like little unofficial ways, but now things are official. We're excited to announce Season 1 will begin on August 15th with a brand new Battle Pass for you to earn in-game rewards. We can also confirm Morty will join the character roster on August 23rd. as part of season 1. We look forward to sharing more in the coming weeks. Quick note, everything we're bringing to you in season 1 will not drop on the same day. New modes and content will be spread through the life of the season. We'll continue to share dates on all the fun things to come. Also, for those wondering, we are unaffected by the Discovery Warner Brothers merger, he said. That's an interesting little tidbit there. You know,
I think that's the please don't burn the building down, we're okay kind of vibe, right? Like everything's fine, don't worry about it, we're good, we got it handled.
Yeah, which hopefully is good news. You know, people are really loving this game, so it's like I would definitely hope that they need the wins, man. So it's like I hope that that the merger doesn't affect the game side, especially when things are going well for them in any way. What's MultiVersus been like for you so far? Have you given it a shot?
Oh man, I've been playing a lot of it at the office. We've all just been diving in and playing it. I usually, this is so weird, and maybe it's just my age, and I'm becoming an old man, Tim. I'm not good at it. I'm great at Smash. I'm great at Tekken. I'm great at Street Fighter. I'm great at Nickelodeon, right? I'm good at all the platform brawlers and fighting games. Usually, I'm pretty good at it. I struggle with the fundamentals of MultiVersus, and I think it's because all the characters play so differently. You can't just pick up the controller and be like, oh yeah, Batman plays just like a Superman. It feels a little more nuanced than that. And so I've been personally struggling at getting good, as the kids say. But what's your experience been like so far with MultiVersus?
Pretty similar to you. I mean, I definitely would not say that I'm like good at any fighting game. I'm competent where I'm like not completely lost in a lot of the more like 2D or even 3D things like Tekken. But Smash is my baby. Like Smash is the one game that even then I wouldn't say I'm that great at it, but it's like I got my head wrapped around it. Like I know how it plays. I know how it should feel. And I think that's the biggest problem. We're such broken records on this at this point, but Smash kind of created a genre to its own. So when there are games like it that don't feel exactly like it, they feel wrong. And I've played way too many hours of Smash Brothers to be able to have my brain kind of like work differently, even slightly. I think even the slight differences are harder than the big differences. And this is close enough that it just doesn't feel right. But I need to break that on myself because this game being as successful as it is, and I think they're going to continue to grow this hopefully for years to come, and with really big, exciting character reveals. And I mean, I wish that Smash Brothers had a battle pass like this. I would love an excuse to go in every day and do challenges and gain stuff. Like that is, you know, just not the Nintendo way of doing things. Like they've you know, flirted with it a little bit with like Splatoon and stuff, but like I would have loved to have that in Smash Ultimate. So I'm kind of jealous in some ways of MultiVersus.
Yeah, I mean, the game being free is a fascinating choice. Just because I'm the kind of guy that I don't mind paying $60 for a game, you know, if it means that I'm gonna get like a full complete experience. But I'm curious how far they can go with releasing skins and characters with their battle pass / season pass program. Because I know that, you know, that games. I don't know if you feel this way, Tim. There are games that come out and they're like, season 1 is here, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then you check back 3 months later, and they're like, all right, season 25 is over. And you're like, I've been gone a month. What happened?
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, we've been talking about this a lot, but I think that we are mature enough into the process of free to play games and monetization options when it comes to video games that I think that MultiVersus is coming out at the perfect time where it could kind of learn from the mistakes of different types of release strategies, like we saw with Street Fighter, like we see with some other fighting games, and more than that, games like Fortnite and games that really focus on the multiplayer community side of things. And we know that the fighting game community is, I mean, it's probably the first community in video games to actually get a branded name, right? Like, was there a community of gamers before the fighting game community? Like, I don't think so, at least not like a publicly known thing. So I love the idea of fighting games being free to play and on as many platforms as possible, because all that means is there are more people that are able to play with each other, which means there's more people that you can play with across the board and across the internet, across the world. So I think that that's the best bet for these games to succeed if they're good. And I think that MultiVersus so far has been a perfect example of that, of the game coming out, crushing it numbers wise. If they kind of learn from what we've seen from Fortnite and Rocket League and Fall Guys and things on the Epic side of things, and continue to pace things out, and to your point, don't get to season 25 too early. Like, let the seasons breathe, let them speak for themselves, let them be worth diving into, and giving enough carrots on the stick to get Bugs all excited, like for people to want to come back to this game. I think that they can continue this and turn it into something mega, mega huge, because there is just such appeal to this game to people. Like, Smash Brothers is the type of game that even if you're not a gamer, you can look at and be like, oh, I get it. This looks fun. This is that with even more IP that are familiar to the general mainstream. So
I think there's to kind of go off of that, the idea of like, I don't know if you feel this way, but there's a lot of games that have seasons, right? And modes where it's like you have to be continually plugged in. To me, it's not that it's disingenuous as a tactic to get people to play your game, but it does set this precedent of you will miss out if you are not constantly playing this game. And you have to get those grinds in, those dailies in to get the costume, the free tokens, the tag spray, right? In Overwatch. Like, there's just kind of this essence of I have to play to unlock the new content, otherwise it goes away forever in the digital Disney vault, and then we're all just kind of SOL. And that's the thing that I'm always worried about when it comes to games like this, because if you're not playing the season, that's when they start locking content behind it, and really, or rather timed content, if you will. So you'll never really get the true experience of what they wanted you to do at that time, right? You had to do it right then in the burst, and hopefully you're connected enough to do that. And not that I don't want to do that, but every game does that, right? It feels like there's and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just throwing caution to the wind, but that's kind of the vibe I get when these games have season passes, is that if you want to get that content, you got to play it right now.
Yeah, totally. And that is, I think, the give and take of the free-to-play model, right? Where it's like you get more at the onset for less, but then you need to invest your time instead of your money to be able to get these things. But what I do think is interesting of what I was saying about hoping that we are enough into the process of learnings when it comes to these monetization strategies is it seems like MultiVersus team understands exactly what you're talking about. And we were reporting on a story a couple days ago about how they are looking at seasons a little bit differently and like trying to give more time to people and like not making it this like rush to have to do everything super quick or else you lose it forever. So I hope that they stay true to that and continue it, because I do think that we don't have it all figured out yet. I don't think anyone has completely nailed it, but I do think that when you look at things like Fortnite, there are examples out there of people that are doing it very well, if not perfect, close to it in terms of keeping their communities engaged and not making them feel like they need to play every waking hour of the day or else they're missing out. So that's the balance that I think that MultiVersus needs to maintain.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Moving on to story number 5. OwlBoy developers announced their next project. This comes from Ryan McCaffrey at IGN. Barrett, I put the IGN link there. There's a video if you scroll down just a little bit. D-Pad Studio, creators of the 2016 gem OwlBoy, have announced their next project, Vikings on Trampolines. It's in development for both PC and consoles, and it's a pixel art 1 to 4 player co-op side-scrolling adventure whose primary traversal mechanic is, as the name implies, trampolines. The story mode puts you on a quest to stop the villain Balloony and rescue King 6 with numerous King VI at King 6, I imagine it is, with numerous boss fights along the way, D-Pad Studio promises. While the party game-esque competitive versus modes will pit up to 4 friends against each other. Vikings on Trampolines began life as one of our small experimental projects, which won the first Nordic Games Indie Sensation Award back in 2011. After releasing OwlBoy, we've since returned to the idea and developed into a fun, fully fledged co-op adventure. IGN will have more on Vikings on Trampolines at Gamescom 2022. This game looks awesome, Jirard, doesn't it?
Oh, dude. The OwlBoy guys, they don't mess around when it comes to beautiful pixel art, and this game is no exception. Even the opening shot, like, you don't even realize it's pixel because that's how good they are. All of their pixel art is stellar, and this looks great. I'm pumped to play this.
Dude, I love it because, we see pixel art all the time, but like this is there's an artistry to
Oh,
what
yeah.
these guys do. And yeah, OwlBoy looked absolutely incredible as well. But I love the idea of this being a different style of game, that 4-player co-op kind of seems like where it's a little competitive co-op. Love that. This seems like it's going to be a blast to play with the homies. Did you get into OwlBoy?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I loved OwlBoy. OwlBoy is such a charming game. Just a breath of fresh air, in my opinion, in what we needed in those pixel platformer and more narrative games. But the art is always so good. When you've got pixel art that doesn't scream pixel art of the NES era, but it just seems more modern and updated, like TMNT, for example, you just feel
Oh yeah.
it just feels like you're playing an art game or watching a movie, right? It feels so well done. And again, OwlBoy, if you guys didn't play it, you gotta check it out. It is so awesome, and this looks great. I'm just curious as to, it says it's a cooperative, game, but it gives me kind of Cuphead vibes though. It doesn't seem like full-fledged levels so much as it's like boss rushes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, them bringing up the numerous boss fights, but the focus on the traversal mechanic being the trampolines, I do imagine that it's going to be less like sprawling levels that you're like going through a bunch of different screens, and more of a focus on like getting over the obstacles screen by screen, almost like in a Celeste type fashion.
Yeah.
Like maybe like a Celeste meets Cuphead,
Totally.
But I mean, man, that's a very exciting thing I just said. Celeste meets Cuphead with that art style. Like, come on, dude. What?
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this. OwlBoy, I never ended up beating it. I loved the look of it. I didn't really love the story of it. It didn't grab me. And there were just some little quirks about the controls that I didn't really love. But
Yeah, that's fair.
This, with the learnings that they've had, and here we are with a 1 to 4 player co-op side scroll game. I think that can make the story less important and the fun with your friends the focus. And I feel like that would be a something I'd very much be looking forward to. And won't have to wait too long. Gamescom 2022 is coming up very, very soon.
Yeah.
Story number 6, Hideo Kojima marks the 8-year anniversary of PT.
Oh,
This
man.
once again comes from Darren over at GameSpot. Yeah, man, we're getting old, dude. We're getting old. Do you remember like where you were when that demo came?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. It was like I was still at IGN at the point, but like, man, that was like everything stopped. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, I remember in my office, all of us put everything down and said we're downloading it, because the fact that no one knew what it was and there was so much mystery to it all, and then suddenly we were all just at the same time like, oh, we can join in. I remember reading IGN and like following along the rabbit hole that was PT, and then the fact that you could play it right away. Immediately I invited the homies over. We all started drinking and just were like, how do we figure this out? And then to hear that it was a huge Silent Hills reveal at the end with Norman Reedus, man, it's gaming sleuthing at its finest, right? Everyone in the world was like, how do we figure this out? How do we do it?
And it was worth the reveal. I mean, like, that's the most nuts thing about it, is that like everyone was working together trying to figure it out. And then when it was figured out, it's like, oh my God, it's a Kojima Silent Hills game with Norman Reedus. Like, how? There's no way this is real. There's no way it's actually going to come out. And here we are 8 years later. Unfortunately, we were right. It will never happen. So following up Kojima's tweet saying 8 years, the bear just brought up, Guillermo del Toro responded with a tweet of his own that just says FK, simply FK. Originally directed by Kojima, the FK is likely meant to convey his disdain for Konami and its decisions at the time. So a little Guillermo del Toro, fuck Konami action, baby.
Throwing that shade, baby.
Yeah, it's sad, man. Like that, the demo, I still have it on my PlayStation downloaded, and like it is to this day one of the, I mean, still one of the scariest gaming experiences I've ever had. But like, it is just such a gorgeous game, and like, granted, it's a very small demo, but there's something about the realism of the lighting and the shadows, and just like the constrained nature of the hallways and the way it's set up in this like just square loop that you're going through. It's so unnerving.
Yeah. It was a game that taught you, I mean, it's a game that launched a whole new subgenre of horror indie games. How many horror indie games have we played in the last 8 years that all revolved around walking down a hallway and being put into a game loop, right? Like immediately we're playing things like Layers of Fear and Madison and all these games that aren't about surviving so much as they are about getting your ass spooked. And that's what happens when you play PT the whole time you're terrified.
Yeah, man. I wonder if one day we'll get the Kojima horror game experience, because I feel like that could be absolutely insane.
Yeah, it could be huge.
Story number 7 here. A veteran Resident Evil producer has left Capcom to join NetEase. This comes from Ryan Dinsdale at IGN. A veteran Capcom producer who worked on several Resident Evil games is leaving the company after 27 years to join Chinese mobile game developer and tech firm NetEase Games. Hiroyuki Kobayashi announced the career shift in a tweet in which he confirmed his new role as a producer at NetEase and said more details would follow at a later date. Quote, after serving 27 years with gratitude, I've departed from Capcom on March 31st, 2022, and will officially be joining NetEase Games as a producer, Kobayashi said. I will strive to continuously create more enjoyable entertainment experiences for everyone at this new company in this new era. He started at Capcom in 95 and was a programmer on the first 2 Resident Evil games, a planner for the original Dino Crisis, and producer on the original Devil May Cry. He was also a producer on Resident Evil Remake, Resident Evil 4, Killer 7, and Dragon's Dogma, among other things, and most recently was executive producer on Mega Man 11. NetEase is currently developing the Harry Potter Magic Awakened virtual trading card game, Dead by Daylight Mobile, The Lord of the Rings Rise to War, and more. It's also rumored to be working on a Destiny mobile game with Bungie. So a legend going on to, I don't want to say greater pastures, but they're getting that money, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, in Japan, the culture is very different when you work at that game companies, right? You kind of tend to be there for a long time, and you become a lifer, or maybe you retire at a game company, right? And you start your own project. So the fact that this is, I'm happy that this guy can go on to continue to be in the games industry should he choose to want that. It seems like he does.
Yeah, absolutely. This isn't a news story, but Barrett, I am going to toss to you real quick. There was a Gotham Knights news story that came up yesterday from IGN talking about the lore and the story implications of everything. Doesn't need to be a full news story or anything. I just kind of want you to give your take as our Gotham resident expert.
Yeah, I think it was written by one Joe Screbbles of IGN, and I think the boy Simon Cardy, who's having his 5th IGN anniversary today, I believe. So shout out to Simon. Yeah, they were talking about like how the developers had kind of like gone back and like detailed out the history of their Gotham City back like 400 years and stuff like that, which is such a really cool idea. And I imagine there's a little bit of that, right, for a lot of games, like talking about the history, like what happened before the events of the game. And it honestly makes a lot of sense to me, right? We're getting the Court of Owls in Gotham Knights, and from that comic book line, slight spoilers for Court of Owls, which has been out for 11 years at this point, Jesus. And, the Court of Owls have been around essentially since the inception of Gotham. And so I think almost like in a necessary step to understand like what their kind of role is in the game, they probably had to go back and be like, all right, like what have they been up to since Gotham has been around, right? So I like reading that, I was like, that's really cool. That makes a lot of sense, especially like, we've been having these like, Greg and Blessing coming in being like, the UI looks dumb, so it's going to be a bad game. And it's like, well, there's good. Yes, I can argue that the UI definitely isn't great, but I do feel like the WB Montreal team has a good head on their shoulders when it comes to kind of story and like lore building and stuff like that. Because if anything that Arkham Origins did, it was that, and so that just makes me more excited and like a cool reminder of like they know what's up when it comes to story and lore and story. Jesus. So yeah, I'm really excited to. It just reinvigorated my excitement. So just shout out to that. Go read the full article over on IGN.
Oh yeah, man. Jirard, where are you at with the Arkham games, and where are you at with Gotham Knights?
I love all the Arkham games. I think they're great. I'm not sure I really want Gotham Knights, however, just based on what I've seen so far. And again, this is just me speaking from what I've seen. It just seems like Gotham again or Arkham again. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Story is going to be a huge proponent of this. I think story will be the big thing that leads us to whether or not this game ends up becoming something that we're all passionate about. It feels like you kind of have to really love the Arkham universe prior to this and going into this, even though they say they're not connected, even though it's not canon, right? It's supposed to be its own universe. It still looks like an Arkham game. It still has that the Arkham vibes. So personally, I'm not gonna probably pick it up on day one, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I will wait until it comes out.
Well, Jirard, wait until it comes out. Seems so far away. If I want to know what's coming to mom and grab shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform, as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show, hosts each and every weekday.
You really tried with that one, Tim.
I had to slow it down. Because I was like, oh, I lost my place on the page, and I want to make sure Jirard has his place on the page.
I was ready.
He was ready. He got there. Out today, not a long list, but we have Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered on PC, which is very, very exciting. I've been playing it a little bit. It is a blast, and it's fun to play in the different modes. And also PC, if you have good specs, you can go crazy with some of the FPS on this thing. So check that out for sure. Before we get to the Jirard segment, Barrett, let's close out the rest of the little things real quick. So I went to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong to see what we got wrong. We nailed it, Jirard. Nothing. Not a single thing wrong, which is fantastic. But Nanobiologist did write in some breaking news I wanted to let everybody know. TwitchCon just updated its policy for San Diego. It will now require masks indoors as well as a negative COVID test or proof of vaccination. This was a very controversial thing a couple weeks ago when they announced that it was like, hey, it's a fucking free-for-all. Deal with it, y'all. And everyone's like, no, that's a horrible idea. So good on them for addressing the issues, changing their entire response to this, and we got the W on this one, everyone. So hell yeah, good on you, Twitch. Good on you. We got a little squad up today that I wanted to read. This is a different type of squad up coming from SD Infected, the homie. Introducing the unofficial fan-created Kind of Funny database at kfdatabase.com. You can search and sort through Kind of Funny Games videos by show, host, guest, and more. There's even a leaderboard for appearances. Spoiler, Greg is number one. Barrett, can you bring this up real quick? kfdatabase.com.
Yeah.
It is extremely impressive. And SD Infected, I don't know how you pulled this off. And being a man that has to run a lot of Kind of Funny's analytics and looking into the back end and just figuring out the history of stuff, I don't know how you possibly did this and how much time it would have taken you. But you literally can go through and click on any of us, and it'll explain every single show we've ever been on and the Kind of Funny game side of things, who was on that show with us and if memorable moments happened. Barrett, can you go up to the leaderboard on the
Hey, I'm on this.
There?
I'm here on this list too.
You are. Yeah. Like literally everyone that's ever been on Kind of Funny Games content is on this list with a show count of how many shows they've been on. Number one, Greg Miller at 2001. Number two, me at 1,450. And Bless coming in at number three at 850. Keep in mind, these are just the Kind of Funny Games daily, or Kind of Funny Games, not Games Daily, Kind of Funny Games leaderboards. And I was seeing that he was saying that he's working on Kind of Funny Prime as well. So insane stuff. Definitely go check it out. kfdatabase.com for all the fun stuff there. And amazing work, SD Infected. Amazing work. But now, Jirard, you came on the show today, A, because I love you, but B, because you've been working on something really cool. You've been over at G4 the last year plus now at this point.
Yeah. It's been a year and like? 2 months. It's been a lot, man. As a company, we've pivoted a lot and we've worked really hard on trying to make fun and exciting content at our big compound, if you will. Now that I've been there a year, looking back, I wish I did a lot more sooner. And you'll kind of see what I mean with our next project I'm about to show you guys. I'm very passionate about getting stuff done and working towards pushing the limit, limits that we have to their highest. And I, in 1 year's time, not only have I been a host of X Play, but I've created one of the first original projects out of G4 since its reimagination in November. And it's called God of Work. And I brought a trailer for everyone who doesn't know what God of Work is.
Barrett, let's roll the trailer.
So your journey begins, mortal.
Welcome to Ragnarok.
Merry Ragnarok! Do it, you coward!
I've been at Digital Solutions for 7 years.
Ding! Dream job unlocked.
Wahoo! Out of paper.
You can't hide! You will face justice!
But you work here long enough and the benefits start really stacking up. At least that's what they tell me.
Hi, Kratos!
Kratos!
There you go. God of War coming to G4 in August. I'm so jealous that you get to work with Austin every day. It just doesn't seem fair, God, two of my favorite human beings together. You'd love to see it. Among many others as well, Golden Boy and all the other homies. So tell us a little bit about the project. What is it? How is it going to be distributed?
Yeah, so God of Work kind of came at inception when I first joined G4. We would do this thing called the Beach House, where we were trying to just get our feet wet with doing live streams of the G4 banner and finding our feet. And our producers would often ask us, "Hey, what do you want to do? Like, do you guys have ideas for bits?" And so I came up with kind of doing our own version of the Sports Center commercials, right, with celebrities and basketball players and sports players or athletes, both video game characters. And I kept pitching it, and it just kind of fell on deaf ears. And eventually, I was heard through my fellow producer and now show co-creator Emily Rose Jacobson. She was like yes-anding me really hard on the idea of it, and the next thing you know, it turned into this show called God of Work. And the whole pitch of it is video game characters in this universe are like Hollywood actors, where when they go work on games, that's them filming, right? That's them going away on set and filming. And then once their games are wrapped up, where do they go to work? What do they do for a living? And so this is the story of that. The place is called Digital Solutions, and it is a temp agency for video game characters. So Kratos is the head of inventory management. He makes sure that all the paper and the pens and pencils and all those office supplies are accounted for. Mario and Luigi are the head of custodial and janitorial duties. Perfect. And so it's kind of about how Kratos is at this job, and he thinks that Ragnarok is actually coming and wiping out the planet. So because of that, he doesn't care about anyone or anything. And so in this office space, he is making everyone's life a living hell. He's breaking stuff. He's accosting other video game characters and regular people. And so this show really is about how Kratos is a damn rock star since we last saw him in August 2018 or in 2018 God of War. So it's really about him just creating chaos. And we have some great guests on there. Austin Creed plays himself from the 2K games. It's very exciting.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
I love that.
We have Daniel Thrasher and Prissy Voices starring as our main characters. Yeah. And it's really exciting. We shot 100 pages of script in 5 days back to back. We shot a whole film out of this series in less than 5 days. I shaved my head, actually. I'm not wearing a bald cap. And I was in makeup for about 4 to 6 hours a day on average before we shot a single thing. from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. every day. And so this really is a passion project. It's a labor of love. It's something that's very different from everything you see on G4 currently. And it's going to be great. I'm so excited to share it with you all. And it's coming really, really soon. I'm going to announce it to the world right now, and because it's around the corner. It's going to be airing on my YouTube channel as one mega season premiere, so you can watch the entire show on my YouTube channel, all 6 episodes on August 27th. That is a dates reveal for all you folks out there. World premiere. So August 27th. That's 2 Saturdays from now. I think 3 Saturdays from now. The August 27th. You can watch the whole show on my channel, and you can also watch extended cutscenes and behind the scenes outtakes on the XPlay channel in the upcoming weeks, or you can watch it on TV when it comes out, as it does. So
very exciting stuff. Oh my god, congrats on that. I love it. That obviously, for anybody watching this, like that knows our history of stuff, like this is the type of stuff that Nick and I would have dreamed to be able to do back at IGN. So to see you and such a talented group of people like actually doing the damn thing, I am so proud of you, because I know how hard it is to push things like that through. And it really, really relies on people showing up and watching it for more to be made. So everybody go support this. Go check it out on the Completionist channel, youtube.com/Completionist.
That one video gamer.
That one video gamer.
Yeah.
Or just search for the Completionist. You'll find it. But on August 23rd, that is very exciting. The entire
August 27th. Wow. August
27th. Ah, man,
it's okay. It's okay.
Check that out. And then support it on G4 too. If you have the TV channel, go check that out on TV, because I'm sure that helps as well. So everyone's like, oh man, we need more of this God of Work situation. We need more Jirard. Everyone needs more Jirard.
Thank you.
Jirard, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Kinda Funny Games Daily. One more time, where can people find you, and what would be the best way to support God of Work?
Oh man, you can find me at youtube.com/thatonevideogamer, or right here on Twitch, twitch.tv/thecompletionist. If you want to see more of me more often, you can check me out over at G4 on our XPlay channel, youtube.com/XPlay. I'm also a host all the time on television via XPlay and Attack of the Show. If you want to see God of Work on August 27th, youtube.com/thatonevideogamer, the entire season. You don't have to wait. You get all 6 episodes, the whole story, the whole arc in one gigantic season ready for you August 27th at youtube.com/thatonevideogamer.
Hell yeah. Go check that out. For everyone else, we're about to sign off here, but for patreon.com/KindaFunnyGame supporters, we are about to do our exclusive post show where I'm just going to talk to Jirard, catch up a little bit, see how G4 has been treating him, get a little deeper with all of that. But for everyone else, I love you all. See you next time. Goodbye.
Thanks for having me. Bye. Love you all.